Following is a production of DallasCowboys.com and the Dallas Cowboys Football Club.
How about them Cowboys? Yeah! Go Cowboys!
This is the Players Lounge, broadcasting live from Dallas Cowboys World Headquarters at the Star. Now, your hosts, Barry Church, Hek'ma Harrison, and Newy Scruggs.
Yeah, get on in here. It is Monday, the Cowboys Victory Monday here on the Players Lounge. This is our show, but Jesse's on the show today because we got a lot of people already.
Yeah.
We got a lot of people already taking vacation time. Barry.
Not me.
Not you, my man with the double dip delights,
Come
right?
on. Call me Mr. Double Dip Delight from now on. Please.
Mr. Double Dip Delight. How did I miss that?
Yeah. My other show, they called me Salt and Pepper Poppy. I call myself Salt and Pepper Poppy.
Wow. This is. I was on my way. I was on my way. I was on my way to the. All you need now, man, is like a mistletoe hanging over the top of you, man. You know, you're single.
Not
single
at work,
gentleman.
Not at work though.
Not
because I already mess around. HR.
My dude.
You know,
my dude.
HR.
Hey, we know the thin line that you walk, Jesse.
Yeah,
Jesse
Holley. Man, I've just been busier than Jesse Holley at the trailer park with a case of wings.
They love Jesse Holley in the trailer park, baby. They know him by his first name, his government, as we call him. But welcome to the Taj Mahal of football. This is the Players Lounge, sponsored by Aristocrat Gaming. I'm Mike Harrison at the desk. As always, Newy Scruggs is on the way. And as I stated, Jesse Holley is in the building with me, man, and Victory Monday, 26-24, made it interesting yesterday. And for me, because I haven't had an opportunity to hear your opinion yet, I'm going to tell you that I left that stadium really proud of the Dallas Cowboys, proud of the fact that going into that game, I said, this is me. They're going to go in here and lay down because they don't have anything to play for. And you, as a former NFL player, familiar with being on teams where, man, either we going to the playoffs or we're going home.
Right.
In those situations, you'd like for them to come later in the season to come with there still being 3 games left, right? So a lot of things get exposed in that situation, especially with the way that the season already been going. I figured against a Tampa Bay team that absolutely needed that victory to keep pace, they would come in and they would smash the gas on the Cowboys and the Cowboys defense with that vaunted running game. You talked about those two guys and the way that they were going to run the ball. You talked about the Vita Veas of the world and how they were going to be all over that offensive line and where the warm, fuzzy feelings of this offensive line, where those things may have gone. The Cowboys defense and Cooper Rush showed up in Arlington, and they showed out. They pulled it off. And it's not like you didn't have the ebbs and flows. The defense came to play, and a guy named Deron Bland, I'm going to find out what his nickname is, what his cousin them call him.
Yeah.
But, man.
Probably like Day-Day or something.
Day-Day, something like that.
Probably like Day-Day.
Man, this is a guy, man, that we really went the beginning of the season not really getting a lot of him and Trayvon Diggs together, but you see his value. You see how much that guy can impact. And it leaves so much to be desired with those two being on the field together, and Cowboy Nation just hadn't been able to enjoy that. But Deron Bland had a matchup. You talked about it also, a matchup with Mike Evans. And Mike Evans got his, but Deron Bland got his too. Jesse, what'd you think about the game?
Similar to your point, I thought even before hearing the news of the Cowboys are mathematically eliminated from playoff contention, I thought, man, with everything Tampa Bay had to play for, they were riding a 4-game winning streak. They were hot.
Yeah.
I thought Tampa Bay's offense, the way that Liam Cohen calls that, a lot of the pre-snap motions and the bunches and the shifts and all those, I thought, man, this is the one thing that really gets the Cowboys defensively to be a little bit off kilter.
Yes.
And then you started adding on the factors of the playoff contention thing. Then you start adding the factor is you don't have your green dot signal caller, Eric Kendricks. He didn't play in that game. And I was like, oh, this is going to be ugly.
This is going to be ugly.
It's going to be ugly than what I thought it was going to be. You know what I'm saying? It's like, well, who's going to like, they either Damone Clark hates them or they hate Damone Clark. Because they were like,
both.
Probably both. And they were like, we're going to go with Nick Vigil. And I was like, oh, okay.
First of all, who is Nick Vigil?
Right. And this is a guy who, he doesn't practice a lot during the week because of the foot injury. So they trusted him enough to be the green dot over Maris Luafau. And, man, they play with a bunch of pride. And I said it in the previous show, kudos to those guys. Okay. Kudos to those men for going out there with really nothing as far as the game standings mattering. But to them, it mattered that we go out here and we win the game. And I get that because winning is the only thing, right? All I want to do is win. And they went out there with really nothing to play for and played a tough football game. And I'm not into they did it for themselves.
I gotta talk to you about something because the show we were on previously, you mentioned Cohen, the offensive coordinator for Tampa. I wanted to argue with you about him. And I did. I wanted to argue, but I let it go because I wanted to set eyes on this offense myself. And let me tell you how much I agree with you in his genius as a play caller, because never at one point in time in that game did I feel like Tampa was off balance.
Right.
They stayed with a hefty running attack, and they also hit you with the hefty passing game. And, oh, by the way, they still used Baker Mayfield's legs when they needed to. I think they use a quarterback, and you also mentioned that he's a gunslinger that thinks his arm is better than it is, but thank God he hadn't been exposed as far as his arm is concerned, yet he plays within himself well enough. But I think Zimmer came with a defensive game plan that nullified a lot of that. You saw a lot of zone, they played off a lot, but when you needed it, he applied some press there on Mike Evans, and I thought that was a hell of a gamble. How do you think this secondary measured up versus that receiving core that you knew there were going to be some holes in it, especially in the safety, the back half? How did you think that the secondary matched up, and how did you think the scheme for Zimmer also matched up with Cohen? I
think what Zim did in his mixing up when to bring pressure, because when you line up, the first thing you're looking for is win number 11. And that always is a deciding factor, right? He is a force multiplier by himself. Right. And that causes quarterbacks at times to kind of rush their process and not have a lot of time. Because when you look at what Liam Cohen does in his routes, he is a layered route caller. So all of his routes are, when I say layered, I mean there's going to be a short option, and then if you give him another second, here comes a secondary option. And if you give him another second, here comes that third option. Or, you know what I'm saying? So developing. That's the word. Yes. So his layered developing routes. But when you don't have time because your clock is going off and you hear 11 growling and breathing down your neck, you're trying to get the ball off as fast as you can. And that's where you start talking about there's a good mixture of when I press, and here's what pressing does. When you have a guy like Mike Evans and you have him and Duran going back and forth, it throws timing off. Right? It throws the timing off of, okay, my first read isn't open. My second read should be coming open. Oh, he's not there. Which in turns closes the window to my third read. See, I need my second one to come open because with that action is I'm going to get him the ball, or it's going to draw someone else into that window, and now I can go to that other guy. But when you jam guys up, and I thought the one holding call that Deron Bland had against him, old school football say, you got jammed up, my dude. That wasn't holding to me. And I'm fair when it comes to both sides and calling the play. He jammed Mike Evans up all the way down the football field. But it was a combination of throwing timing off in the back end with the press coverage and then being able to apply pressure with the different looks up front and having Micah and company being able to get to Baker Mayfield and having him get off his reads faster than what he wanted to. So it was a good back and forth chess match throughout that game, and the Cowboys came away with it at the end because they made a little bit more plays than Tampa Bay was able to make in that game. But I think I don't want to go off key. I think the one thing that we're not talking about enough in this game, and to me, it was the reason that they won the game. And it wasn't offensively, and it wasn't defensively. This was a 2-point game. Mm-hmm. Brandon Aubrey misses any one of those 50-plus yard field goals in the game. He had 3 or 4 field goals in this game. He missed any one of those. We're coming here, and it ain't a Monday.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? It's a mundane Monday.
Yeah.
Right? You know what I'm saying?
Same old.
And those are the things that I think that's the special team aspect of it, where you don't talk much about it, but without it, you don't win this football game.
You lose by 1 point.
Yeah.
Yeah, you lose by 1 point. I mean, you bring up a special point, and I think special teams, obviously, it's the gift and the curse of special teams. Each and every week, and everybody, guys like you that made their bones in the NFL by playing special teams, point that out all the time. And also, hold Coach Fossil's feet to the fire on some of those bonehead mistakes that are made. But when you see a guy like Brandon Aubrey who is standalone and does it, and man, what a treat it is to have a guy that that can make field goals from 58 yards. You turn on the television every Sunday. You saw in that Commanders and Philly game a guy that just I'm like, damn, we are spoiled.
Yeah.
We are spoiled.
Think about, like, when they talk about that Commanders-Eagles game, their kicker, I think, missed about 14 of them this season.
Yeah.
And Brandon made 14 of them.
I mean, you're short. You're short on 58.
You know what I'm saying? Like that's the determining factor of, that matters. And it's always, in special teams, it's always one of those things where it doesn't matter until it matters.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
And my other thing is obviously in your evaluation of the game, you being a former NFL player and analyst, Jesse Holley is on the Players Lounge with us today. And you talked about the running game from Tampa Bay. They ended up having 134 yards. Let's be clear. Bucky Irvin, 16 for 68. Baker Mayfield, 3 for 42. But Rachaad White, 3 for 10. When you talk about those runs, basically, you were not being gashed in your defense, which you expect. They gave up, and the longest run was to Baker Mayfield for 18 yards. But guys like Nick Vigil, who we were just joking, like, who is it? Him and Maurice Leofau, your linebacking crew, young, inexperienced, showed up for you. That was a big part of this victory also.
It was. And that's when you're down as many guys as the Cowboys have been down throughout this season, I need contributions. And I don't need you to be 2000 Ray Lewis. I don't need that. Be where you're supposed to be. Yeah. Be where you're supposed to be, and then with the play that you're supposed to make. See, Ray goes and make plays out of his zone, out of his space, intelligence beyond belief. Here's what I need you to do. Hey, if you're supposed to be here, be here. If you're supposed to take on this blocker, take on this blocker. If you're supposed to be scraping, scrape. If you're supposed to, when I get that, now my guys that are supposed to be doing their job is allowed to. Because I don't have the room. They talked about during the game. They kept talking about like how Levante David and Vita Vea would play off one another. And Levante would tell Vita, hey, yo, stay in your gap. I'm about to go roam. Or it'd be vice versa. Yo, you go roam. I got your back. See, when you don't have that level of players, I need everybody to do their job. If everybody do their job, then we limit the big plays and we play the percentages. And we say to ourselves, all right, cool. We'll get down to this thing. We'll bend, but we won't break, and they'll make the mistake. And I think that's what those guys like Nick Vigil, like Maurice Leofau, and others just doing their job on a consistent basis gives you an opportunity at least to have guys in the right place.
Is that what you learned from Belichick being out there with New England when you just talked about that whole
No,
process?
I learned that from my grandma a long time ago. Just, boy, do what I tell you to do. If you do what I tell you to do, you be all right. You know what I'm saying? Grandma, I tell you that, hey, when you get in this house, lock that door, don't open it for nobody. I got the key. Don't touch that stove. You'll make your peanut butter. No, but I'm joking, but I'm dead serious as well. But yes, when you're in places like New England, and that was the one thing that Bill Belichick was always on top of. He would tell you, when I first signed with New England, I sat down and had a meeting. Like, I talked to Bill Belichick. And he basically said, here's what I need for you to do. Can you do X, Y, and Z? I said, yes. He said, fine. If you can do these at a high rate, you'll be just fine. And that's what he asked his team to say, I need all of y'all to do exactly what I asked you to do. If you do that, we will find ourselves in a winning position. I don't need you to go outside and do nothing else. I don't need you to be Superman or a superhero. If I say go from point A to point B, go to point A to point B. Don't dip off to C, think about D, or you saw F. Go A to B, because I got somebody else going to C. Yeah. And if all y'all do what y'all supposed to do, then this guy back here gonna make it right.
I've heard coaches say you're not talented enough to improvise yet.
Very true.
Very true. You're not there yet.
It's funny you say. I never played at the collegiate level that you guys played. I was more a high school dude, but I remember we said just one coach like, "What were you thinking?" Well, coach, I thought that's the problem.
You thought
you thinking.
Yeah.
That's true.
Don't think.
Yeah.
Do what I tell you to do.
That's the truth.
Newy Scruggs back in the building. I always love watching those. When you watch those Sunday night games, you're sitting there, you're watching the TV, and you see the Sunday night, and then all of a sudden, Newy Scruggs, NBC. I'm like, this guy, he's everywhere.
Y'all don't turn the TV off. That's what I'd be doing. Game over.
Newy Scruggs, NBC.
When I get on, I'll be like,
Game over.
I gotta watch.
Tomorrow.
Game
Yeah,
over.
it's so different, man. Watching the TV live. Watching the game live is so much. It's so much different from the TV.
Professional.
Yeah, man. He come in, walk in.
You wouldn't do that.
Oh, he need to get hazed for walking in there late like this, man. Where's the book of integrity? Bring the book with you.
I was actually working today. I was over at TCU. They're getting ready for the they got the Armed Forces Bowl. They're getting ready for Armed Forces Bowl. Navy, Oklahoma. Boy, Oklahoma fell off. And then TCU was prepping for the New Mexico Bowl, so I had to do interviews over there. So leaving Fort Worth because they came late. They were late. Sonny got them late. I'm like, what said? Ironically, and you guys have played in bowl games. Nobody was really excited for TCU about going to the New Mexico Bowl.
Yeah.
So I just figured I'm gonna ask the question. So I asked JP Richardson. A lot of fans weren't real hyped about the New Mexico Bowl. What about you? I ain't gonna lie, I was disappointed.
Yeah.
I thought there were some better bowls out there we could do.
There are.
But since we wasn't bowling last year, we're here. Louisiana got 10-win teams, so we better get out here and go do what we got to do. Because bowl games are about want to. I'm like, and this is last game anyway. I'm like, at least you come with some perspective. It may not be what you wanted, but last year you had nothing.
Nothing.
And the year before that, your last bowl game, I think everybody wanted to take that 65-7 taste out there, man.
Hey, I'd rather have 65-7 and play in that game than. What's the bowl prizes for that, though? What's the bowl prize for the New Mexico Bowl?
I didn't.
You got to ask. Who's the sponsor? No. You got to ask who's the sponsor. Who's the sponsor? It's like, it's like a PlayStation Bowl. You get the PlayStations and stuff like that. I mean, you do get perks.
New Mexico Bowl.
Green chili or
something. I'm about to say, enchilada. I shouldn't say that.
That's not good.
I shouldn't say that. Shout out to all my enchilada eating people.
Yeah, man. Come on.
But really, it's no matter what it is, heck, what you had last year was nothing.
Yeah.
You had 5 wins. So it's, I don't know if it's Breaking Bad Bowl. I don't know. But
shout out to the Cowboys right now.
Sponsored by Walter White's product.
The Cowboys can get the bowl right now. They take that. They take the bowl, right?
I mean, so I was late just getting from that side of town to get over here. And then, by the way, Grapevine Mills Mall is like a whole bunch.
So I'll set the teaser for this because I know you're gonna take over the show in the second segment here. We got to get your thoughts, Newy Scruggs' thoughts on the Cowboys' victory. Coming up next on the Players Lounge. You like that tease?
Professional. That's professional, right?
Got him.
That's professional. Like he had licked his lips and everything.
Hey there, Cowboys Nation. Kyle Yeomans here, sharing that same team that brought you Buffalo, bringing NFL casino games that show America's team on and off the reels. Aristocrat is changing the game with a new experience. Football fans, this means you can pick your team and play your team. Check out the Cowboys-themed casino games developed by Aristocrat, a proud sponsor of the Dallas Cowboys. Gambling problem? Please contact the U.S. National Problem Gambling Helpline at 1-800-GAMBLER. That's 1-800-GAMBLER for 21 and over.
Hey Cowboy fans, I'm Dak Prescott, quarterback of the Dallas Cowboys. But lately, I've been learning a new game, Crypto. Sound confusing? Don't worry. Even us pros were rookies in crypto once. That's why I trust blockchain.com. They make crypto easy. No confusing jargon, just the tools to help you win.
Prescott keeps it, slides with a first down.
Invest like your icons, where everyone is a rookie in crypto with blockchain.com.
Perfect throw, my goodness. Wow, did he ever thread the needle.
Visit blockchain.com/Cowboys to get started.
It's the official men's skincare brand of the Dallas Cowboys, Jack Black. And right now, Cowboys fans can get 15% off their $75 order. Plus, because every deal needs a playmaker, your order will include a free 5-piece skincare set and free shipping. The Jack Black Playmaker is 4 of Jack's favorites and a full-sized intense therapy lip balm. Make a play for the playmaker at getjackblack.com/Cowboys with the code CowboysVIP. That's getjackblack.com/Cowboys with the code CowboysVIP.
Are you the 2024 Dallas Cowboys Fan of the Year? The Dallas Cowboys and Captain Morgan are celebrating extraordinary, inspiring, and original fans. Nominate yourself or the biggest Cowboys fan you know for a chance to be named the 2024 Fan of the Year and win prizes, including a trip to Super Bowl 59. Visit DallasCowboys.com/Fan of the Year. Go Cowboys! Back to the Players Lounge.
Capture a frame-worthy family holiday photo with Santa at the Star, presented by Monument Realty. Santa will be spreading holiday cheer at his cowboy-themed cottage in the Star District from November 22nd through December 24th. For more information and to book your visit, head to thestardistrict.com/Santa.
Boom, Hek'ma Harrison. Appreciate you here.
Building.
Players Lounge brought to you by Aristocrat Gaming. All right, Jesse Holley. He's here. Mr.
Double dip.
Mr.
Holly Claus.
Mr. Double
Still
Dip
doing all
Delight.
the charity work, man.
Yes.
Doing Jesse's out here doing servant's work, bro.
Oh, yeah.
Servant's
I ain't
work,
a man.
God is good. God
All
is
the
good.
Ain't a
time.
man.
All the time.
All the time.
Yep.
All the time, man. So big ups to you on that. Hek'ma Harrison is here. I'm late Newy Scruggs coming back from doing a little bit of work. So the thing that impressed me about the Cowboys that they won for the standpoint that Tampa Bay had the ball for 32 minutes and 48 seconds.
Yep.
Ran up a whole bunch of yards on them, and the Cowboys could not run in a lick. Averaged 1.6 yards a carry in the game, 31 yards of rushing. I didn't think they were going to win. I picked against them. To see them come out and play, because I was at the stadium, and I was not expecting that once they got eliminated. I wasn't expecting them to go out there and play that way. So for them to lead from start to finish,
Yeah.
and who had these dudes winning on Sunday night 2 of the 3 games they played this year?
Yeah.
Pittsburgh,
Yeah.
Tampa, lost to San Francisco. I didn't see that, man.
No, again, like this is, I guess that goes in the file of just the unpredictability of what this football team has been this year. It's been this toss up every single, because I think we were all on the same page when we came into this game. It was like, this ain't going to end well. This ain't going to end well, and they have the final say so. That's the greater thing, right? Is that our jobs are to look at film and numbers and all this other kind of stuff and break this thing down and come up with some sort of hypothesis or hypotenuse of what the game plan would be like and when they go out there.
Gotcha.
And then we go sit on the fat part of our butt and watch.
So.
And those guys have to go out there and go, well, forget what Newy, forget what Hek'ma, forget what Holley has to say. They don't have to live up to this. They don't put the pads on. They ain't doing this.
Yeah.
And that's the difference. And that's the part that those guys get the final say so in.
So Jesse, Newy, asked this question. I got to ask you guys, what does this mean for Mike from Pittsburgh?
Glad you asked this question.
What does this mean for Mike from Pittsburgh?
For me, again,
Yes, for
I
you.
get
For
to
you.
sit and see
I
it,
know.
Yeah, it means absolutely nothing to me. It means absolutely nothing. Because here's what we hired Mike McCarthy to do. Mike McCarthy was hired for the head coaching job / offensive coordinator job to change the narrative and the outcome of what the other regime could not do. And in his 4 seasons here, he's done the exact same thing that the other regime has done. First round exit in the playoffs, not make the playoffs. This means nothing to me. This proves nothing to me because your goal was to get this team to the championship. And you failed to do that. Yes, that was the goal. When he was hired, one of the things that Jerry Jones said about Mike McCarthy was he has Super Bowl experience and playoff pedigree.
Okay.
And I also said the thing, and I was a fan because I thought it was going to be different. At no point in time against the good ones did we have a coaching advantage in the last 4 years. When he had to be at his best against the best, folded.
That man ended Tom Brady's career.
Yeah.
It's the best you got. Is that the best that you got? Is that the best that you got?
That was a playoff win.
Is that the best that you got?
It was a playoff win. Tom Brady
Again,
beat a lot of people now.
Again, it wasn't different than the old regime. Jason Garrett got one playoff win.
Here's what I will give you. Excuse me. You were going to...
No. I'm waiting to hear what you had to say.
Jesse, what you're saying is idealism. Ideally, this is what he was hired for. That's the idealism of what you wanted and what we all were expecting. The realism is, and you look at this team this year, the GM doing GMing very well. Okay?
What about last year?
Last year was 12-5.
You had the runner-up in the MVP voting at your quarterback. You had everything right. You had a healthy roster. You had good football players in that roster. You got your tail handed to you at home.
Okay, let me finish showing you this point. And guess what? The GM and owner said, okay, bring it back. He could have made a move.
Right.
But he didn't.
Okay.
Were there other people potentially out there? Was there someone available who has won more Super Bowls who could have taken the job? He was available.
Okay.
He decided not to do it. So the owner and general manager is the one who said, nah, I want more of this. Bring it back one more time. And then he didn't get the owner didn't all in. Did you see all in? GM all in? No, he wasn't. So while you can put up here and beat up Mike McCarthy for the idealism of what was wanted, the general manager and owner who could have made a move last year, could have hired Jim Harbaugh, could have hired Bill Belichick, said, nah, we're bringing it back, and then didn't give him all the tools that he had beforehand. This is not the same amount of talent. This scheme with Mike Zimmer is not the same. Chauncey Goldston was over there this week talking about, hey, man, we wanted to believe in the scheme. We tried. It took us a while to get there. Mm-hmm. When do you start to say, man, what are we doing here? I mean, this is a collective thing. As much as Jerry, and I like Jerry personally, man, I'll be the saddest dude when this man passed away because he done provided so much good content for me through the years. This thing has been, Mike McCarthy ain't done it. Garrett didn't do it. Mm-hmm. Uncle Wade didn't do it. Mm-hmm. Parcells didn't do it. Mm-hmm. What's the common denominator here?
Yeah. What ain't changing?
Right. So,
yeah.
So I mean,
I got you.
So the reality is, you kind of got what you walked into this bear trap, owner, general manager. You think about, what if Harbaugh's here? What if Belichick's? These were available options,
right?
Yeah. And you said, no, we're bringing this guy back.
You make it.
So okay. Now,
so you say all that to say what?
I say all that is, if you fired him tomorrow, I don't think there's a better option for you that he will feel comfortable with. Take Jesse out of it. Take Newy out of it. Take Hek'ma out of it. We're talking about the man that we've been around and we've seen and we've covered and we know.
Correct.
He's probably going to come back with this one more time because I don't think there's a better option for him that he's going to feel comfortable with and do. He ain't hired Kellen Moore. He's not going to hire a first-time guy.
So we're in insanity again because we're getting ready to repeat what we just repeated with JG. We did 10 years with JG because and the only way you run this back, this is just me, and if whoever Mike McCarthy's agent is, there's no way
Tom Brady's guy.
Oh, then there's no way you give me a 1-year deal.
Of course,
not. So you got to give me 4. You got to give me 3-4-year deal.
It's going to be. It probably will have to be 3.
Right. So okay. So now, all right. So we go through 7 years, and you said the common denominator is what?
The owner and general manager.
So what's going to be the difference? What you have to have now
since '97? Yeah.
What you have to have now is you can't have good coaching anymore. You have to have great coaching. You have to have people who are able to schematically overcome the limitations that are set forth by the people who are over their heads. And I think that's, for me, when it comes to Mike McCarthy, he's just good. He's just good. And that's what I'm talking about, a competitive advantage when you go into these certain games. You didn't feel when he went up against the Lions that he had a competitive advantage from the coaching aspect. You didn't feel that way when he went up against Kyle Shanahan or McVay or LaFleur or any of the ones that we consider to be good and that you'll eventually have to face in order to get to the big game, right? All the names that I'm naming are names that you got to go through unless they beat each other, that you got to go through those names in order to get to the promised land. And at no point in time, and maybe I'm wrong, I'll speak for myself, I won't speak for you, gentlemen, I never felt there was a competitive advantage at that point. And if coaching-wise, if I don't have a competitive advantage coaching-wise, and I don't have a significantly advantage Jimmy's and Joe's wise, I find myself in this situation again and again and again. And I think what Mike McCarthy is as a play caller is good. And if you're not going to give him exceptional talent all across the board that will elevate that good to a higher place, then we'll be sitting here in 8 months and we'll be having the same conversation.
Yeah,
that's why I'm saying
that you've been having since '97.
That's why for me it's there has to be hope. If there's any hope, there has to be the hope that okay, we fired Mike McCarthy, and if finally the clock is right one of these times, and the sun shines on the dog's bottom, and he go,
"This is your time."
You know what, Ben Johnson? I did all the other stuff. I'm gonna go ahead and give you that $12 million. You know that. Liam Cohen. You know what? I'm gonna give you that shot. Miss Bobby Slowick.
So Jesse. Look. So let's split the difference, all right? Because I think what you're saying from a talent standpoint, I didn't give this guy a chance. All in didn't apply this year. You may have been in previous years, but not this year. I didn't give you enough, all right? And it's for some reason when talking to players, former professional players about Mike McCarthy, it comes down to guys saying him not living up to the moment. That's Barry Church's deal with Mike McCarthy, all right? What you're saying for who, for what, basically. Who are you going to bring in to manage? Who are you going to not only just manage this roster, who's going to deal with the front office? Who do you know who's been better at dealing with that? Because that's a part of the job, too. That may not be dealing with Dak, dealing with Micah. Oh, by the way, managing your expectation with Jerry Jones.
I don't think nobody can.
It's a circus, bro.
I don't think nobody can. I don't think nobody
who else? I mean, and I said this before for Mike McCarthy, who was, I felt like being groomed for this position for what he dealt with Ted Thompson. I mean, up in Green Bay. He didn't pick his free agents. He wasn't in that room for any of that. My point with Mike McCarthy is what he's had to deal with from an injury standpoint. The guy didn't have a leg to stand on. At a certain point in this season, his whole team was hurt. And if the expectation after Dak Prescott went down.
But what about when Dak wasn't here? They didn't play well at the beginning of the year, and they had him. Dak wasn't having a good season.
You're not going to go back to last season when Dak is the runner-up in MVP votes?
Right.
None of that even applies in that?
You got your doors beat off when it mattered the most.
You don't put any of that on your defensive coordinator?
No, that team was unprepared. That team was, and when you're talking about unprepared.
You know who Dan Quinn is, right?
And not ready to play a game. Offensively, too. Stop. Offensively, too. That falls on the shoulders.
And where was the general manager to make the decision to say,
he's probably on his boat.
You know what? This was unacceptable.
I don't know. He's just on his 200-foot yacht. I don't know.
First off, it's not his.
Oh, well, okay. Okay.
Either way.
He's on his jet or his helicopter. I don't know.
When you took the beating and you were frustrated and mad, and other people around were calling for regime change, you could have did. Harbaugh begging to come to the league, Bill Belichick begging for a job. He didn't do it.
Yeah. He didn't want to have to pay that $5 million and for Mike to sit at the buffet.
No, guess what?
He didn't want Mike down. He didn't want Mike down at the China buffet eating the unlimited crab legs at 2:00 on a Thursday afternoon.
And don't do that, because if that was the case, you're talking about a billionaire.
A year later,
$5 million.
Oh, you don't know how billionaires and millionaires.
No, that's not it. No. No.
Them some cheap bastards. They don't want to give up a dime if they don't have to.
if you knew that this season was going to be the way that it is, you think that he would have still lined him up for this just to say, oh, I'm just going to pay you through the end of your contract and bring another guy in here?
Again, now you're asking for Miss Cleo fortune telling, right? If
no,
you knew,
okay.
No, he didn't know.
Let me ask you this.
He didn't know. In his mind, he thought to himself, you know what? If I pay CD and I pay Dak and I switch some other things around, hell, we were 12-5 last year with a very similar group. Maybe this year we can get lucky and things happen.
And you agree with Newy
favor.
Because the mismanagement then is on him.
No. I 100% agree with Newy in the sense of the general manager is the general manager. And that's always going to be the way it is. What I'm saying is, even in your 12-5 years, it still ended the same way. So there was nothing. So there was nothing that was going to change for me in this season. And that's what I'm saying, that is from his standpoint is, you're good enough to get me there. But what you do as a coach is not great enough to overcome the thing that you're facing and to get me to the promised land.
And right now, I don't see another option in which they're going to go utilize that tells you, or that I see him actually doing. Him doing. Not me, not Hek'ma, not Jesse. I don't see another option that Jerry Jones is going to lock himself into right now that says, yeah, that's what we're going to go do.
So now it's just keep Mike and deal with the misery of...
I'll give you that opinion next, right here on
that's
Players Lounge, right here.
Professionally
brought to you by Aristocrat Gaming.
Black
Jesse Holley, Hek'ma Harrison. I'm Newy Scruggs. DallasCowboys.com.
And you got to raise your foot up like on the Christmas story, kicking the kid down the slide. Chris, we in break?
Yeah.
Not yet.
Oh, are you serious?
Hey, Danny McCray here for Smoothie King. You know every great workout deserves a great reward. So treat yourself right with new coconut smoothie bowls. Made with real fruit, crunchy, purely Elizabeth granola, creamy coconut, and topped with the chocolate hazelnut or honey drizzle. With 2 new flavors, it's perfect for you and the workout buddy. So you both can stay on track even after you leave the track. Scoop up new coconut smoothie bowls only at Smoothie King, the official smoothie of the Dallas Cowboys.
Hey y'all, Matt Pittman of Meat Church here. With football season kicking off, I'm already gearing up to bring the smoker back to AT&T Stadium for some epic tailgates. But with that Texas heat, it's crucial to keep my beer hand cramping cold. That's where Yeti's insulated Colster can cooler comes in clutch. This year, you can even get them with the iconic star engraved on the side. Licensed Yeti Cowboys gear is now available at Stadium Pro Shops, concessions, and on Yeti.com. Check it out today. Yeti, official cooler and drinkware of the Dallas Cowboys.
To kick off the 2024 NFL season, Boss teamed up with the Cowboys and Micah Parsons to launch an iconic apparel collection. The Boss Cowboys collection unites football and fashion while reflecting what it truly means to be a boss. Arriving just in time for the start of the season, the distinctive attire from the latest Boss Cowboys expansion offers sports aficionados and true bosses the chance to show their team spirit and style. Get yours today at nflshop.com/HugoBoss, HugoBoss.com, and Boss retail stores. # be your own boss.
Raising Cane's presents the other rules of football. Rule 1, any broadcast without the express edition of cook-to-order Cane's chicken fingers is prohibited. Rule 12, no crinkle-cut fries, Texas toast, or craveable Cane sauce constitutes an illegal formation. And Rule 31, anybody who loves to feed their game face is an eligible receiver of Cane's. When it comes to winning game day, Cane's rules. Raising Cane's chicken fingers. One love. Go Cowboys.
To the Players Lounge.
'Tis the season for youth football and dance camps presented by Invisalign. Don't miss the chance to learn from the Dallas Cowboy cheerleaders at dance camp on December 27th and former NFL players at football camps on December 27th. Celebrate the holidays with the Dallas Cowboys. Register today at dallascowboys.com/camps.
All right, Hek'ma Harrison, appreciate you. Jesse Holley, former Dallas Cowboy player in the house of Newy Scruggs. The Cowboys get a 26-24 win on NBC Sunday Night Football. They did not get flexed, and they went out and gave NBC a good game.
Yep.
And for some reason, Cooper Rush just keeps winning on Sunday Night Football in front of a national TV audience. One on Halloween night, one here. I mean, one on Thanksgiving Day. I mean, dude's got a whole bunch of starts in primetime in his career.
Talk about, boy, 9 lives. This man, Cooper Rush, 26 of 35. 26 of 35. It was not perfect. It was not perfect. There were a couple throws. CeeDee Lamb went over to the bench like, what was that? But a win in primetime is a win in primetime.
I must give him credit for gutting it out. Okay, so before the break, we're back on. Jesse's not a believer in bringing Mike McCarthy back.
Man. The opposite of Barry Church, by the way, when it comes down to loyalty and saying, aligning himself. Barry is loyal to the soil. Go ahead.
That necessarily is not a good approach to things either.
There you
My
go.
good brother Barry. I know you like Kellen Moore. I hope you don't bring him back.
No, love.
And I keep going back into this premise of, I have my thoughts, but I have to go back and think when I talk about this, the thoughts of the owner and general manager who did not box himself in last night after the game, appreciated what Mike McCarthy did, and spoke before about how, hey, man, we thought basically somebody died when we found out that Washington won the game, and they went out there and they performed highly. I just don't see his appetite to go out and get anyone else. And once again, who do you go get? Jesse, you want to bring up some offensive names and some first-time guys who have not been head coaches. I don't see that. You've played here. Mm-hmm. You understand that this is not just a football job. This is an entertainment complex that you deal with. I look at this job the way managing the New York Yankees used to be under George Steinbrenner. Man, it's what did we just see? Yes, what did we just see in the Netflix preview? This is bigger than football. He said it.
He said this is a soap opera 365 days a year.
You're not coming here to coach. You come here. I remember Chris Richard when he got here. He went to lunch with him and did his Thurman. He was like, yeah, it's a little different than Seattle. There's a lot stuff's going on. Mm-hmm. So you may have a practice one day, and all of a sudden practice could get changed on you because other stuff.
Got stuff to do.
The stuff. Were you here with us that day when they had the trailers out there for the Country Music Awards, and so they took up one side of the field and they had like OTAs on the other side, then it rained, and then they couldn't go into the Ford Center because they had the setup for country music. It's different around here.
Yeah,
it's the gift and the curse.
Yeah. Or Jerry landing during practice.
It
happens
because he didn't know what time practice was starting. He didn't know what time practice was.
So it's not as like this is a different kind of jam, man. So not everybody's cut out to do this. And oh, by the way, guess what? You will have a collaborative effort. You're not getting to make your own decision. They're going to work with you.
The one thing I get to do if I'm an offensive play caller is call my own plays, design my own plays. That's the part that I'm getting to. There's no one realizes just how big the tornado is until you're in the eye of it. Right? Once you're in the eye.
I want to say some stuff, but I can't. It's just a certain thing you can't say. I
want to say something. I got to. And I know that there's some other things when it comes to that, too. You know I know. You know I know.
Exactly.
But what I'm saying is I still would like to have somebody that is exceptional when it comes down to designing and profiling the plays that I am able to call on Sundays. When you talk about, like, we're in week 15, and I was seeing things last night. I'm like, oh, wow, look at him using these plays and actually using them to set up another play, right? Like the Kevontae Turpin, his first run, he runs that play, comes right back to it again, same thing, play action it, catch Brandon Cooks. I said, oh, that's how you set up a play. That's the process of walking this thing down and setting things up. And far too often we are left our desires unfulfilled when the things that are happening offensively. And my biggest, the thing that I stand 10 toes down on is that I brought you here to be a difference maker. And the difference hasn't been made. Not well enough to that it's going to get us to a place of ultimate success. And that's where I'm like, we got to do something else. Because bringing him back doesn't change the fact that you're still going to be who you are in the ninth inning. You ain't changing a player game in the ninth inning. And so you give him 3 more years or 4 more years or whatever the deal will be, what changes?
That's a fair point. But I go back and I don't think the owner has the appetite to go out and make a change.
Because they're not going to go to college. They're not going to bring a guy from college into this job. If you think about it, that's exactly what you're talking. This is an entertainment business. That guy wouldn't even be able to understand or even be able to withstand the media storm.
Lincoln Riley?
Come on.
I mean, we've heard that name before.
But we have.
I'm saying we've heard that that name, and you look at how sensitive this man is. Okay, you out in L.A. where they don't even really care. The media ain't really showing up every day out there. You all tripping on them.
I'd rather have Cliff Kingsbury than Lincoln Riley.
What?
If those were the options, if those are my two options that you were giving me, and I don't want neither one of them, but if those were the two options, if that was an option, then go give me him.
Who is a play caller in the NFL right now that you look at their game and you say that I love that? Who's that guy? Offensive play call. OC.
Ben Johnson.
Ben Johnson.
Ben Johnson.
Okay.
Matt LaFleur is another one.
McVay.
McVay. It's fun. McVay. Oh my God, McVay would be like he gives you an advantage. You hear a lot from the 49ers fans. They talking about they ready to get rid of Kyle Shanahan. And I'm like, God, please, what are y'all waiting on? Because if you do, I'll drive. So I'll drive to San Fran to pick him up for y'all.
Let me ask you this. I'm gonna just throw this out here. Because Mike's a free agent. Okay? He's a free agent at the end of the year. He can decide he wants to go coach the Saints. Would you be willing to give up a draft pick for, and I'm not naming any names, not naming any coaches, but would you be willing to trade for a coach?
Yes.
Okay.
What coach is out there?
We won't do that.
Okay. We can't do that. Okay.
We won't do that. But I'm just saying, would you?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yes.
Okay.
There is a coach out here, fictional coach out here, that you believe if you bring him in here, he's going to be that kind of change agent that you would trade first-round picks for.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Wow. That's...
Because the inches we need are all around us.
Yes!
I believe if you look at the guy next to you, he's ready to give you that inch. Step too slow here. Step slow there.
Thank you. Don't stop.
We're in hell right now.
Come on.
We're in hell.
Yes! We got it right before Christmas. All year I had got it.
It's a players lounge. We got to go. We got to go, guys. We got to go. We got to go. And as Coach Tony said, what are you going to do? I can't do it for you. What are you going to do? Goodbye.
This has been a production of DallasCowboys.com and the Dallas Cowboys Football Club.
How about this, Cowboys? Yeah!